Hey friends, today I'm going to continue reading books by Kevin Henkes. This book is called Chester's Way, and you're going to meet one of the most important characters of Kevin Henkes in this book. So Chester's Way by Kevin Henkes. He's also the illustrator, and this is Chester. I really love all these books so much. This is one of my favorite things to read about. Chester had his own way of doing things. Hello, my name is Chester. I like croquet and peanut butter and making my bed. Croquet is a game that you play and you put these little wire things in the ground and you hit the ball and it goes through them. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. It's kind of fun. He always cut his sandwiches diagonally. He always got out of bed on the same side, and he never left the house without double knotting his shoes. Chester always had the same thing for breakfast, toast and jam with peanut butter. And he always carried a miniature first aid kit in his back pocket, just in case. You definitely have a mind of your own, said Chester's mother. That's one way to put it, said Chester's father. Now, I think I forgot to mention before that often Kevin Henkes has a little phrase or something that's repeated over and over in the story, and this is one of those. Chester's best friend, Wilson, was exactly the same way. That's why they were best friends. Chester wouldn't play baseball unless Wilson played, and they never swung at the first pitch or slid head first. Wilson wouldn't ride his bike unless Chester wanted to, and they always used hand signals. If Chester was hungry, Wilson was too, but they rarely ate between meals. Some days I can't tell these two apart, said Wilson's mother. Me either, said Wilson's father. Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester. That's just the way it was. Maybe they're best friends because they like to do so many of the same things. They're very similar. They loved to go on picnics. Once, when Wilson accidentally swallowed a watermelon seed and cried because he was afraid that a watermelon plant would grow inside him, Chester swallowed one too. Don't worry, said Chester. Now if you grow a watermelon plant, I'll grow one too. Chester duplicated his Christmas list every year and gave a copy to Wilson because they always wanted the exact same things anyway. For Halloween, they always dressed as things that went together. Salt and pepper shakers, 2 mittens on a string, ham and eggs. They really are 2 peas in a pod, said Chester's mother. Looks like it, said Chester's father. See how they're dressed up as things that go together? Like eggs and ham. In spring, Chester and Wilson shared the same umbrella. In winter, they never threw snowballs at each other. And in fall, they raked leaves together. And in summer, they reminded each other to wear sunscreen so they wouldn't burn. Chester and Wilson, Wilson and Chester, that's the way it was. And then Lily moved into the neighborhood. Now, Lily is the character I'm talking about. She's one of Kevin Henkes' most famous characters, and we're going to see several books about her. I love her. Lily had her own way of doing things. Here she is. She's saying, I'm Lily, I'm the queen, and I like everything. Look at her red boots. This is how you're going to recognize her. And I actually have a Lily doll in the library. She wore band-aids all over her arms and legs to look brave. She talked backwards to herself sometimes so no one would know what she was saying. And she never left the house without one of her nifty disguises. A disguise is when you dress up to look like somebody else. Lily waved at all the cars that passed by, even if she didn't know who was in them. And she always carried a loaded squirt gun in her pocket, just in case. She definitely has a mind of her own, said Chester. That's one way to put it, said Wilson. That's the same thing his parents said earlier, remember? When Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they said they were busy. When she called them on the phone, they disguised their voices and said they weren't home. If Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson crossed to the other side. She's something else, said Chester. Looks like it, said Wilson. Look at the mask she's wearing. Do you think they're being very nice? If they see her, they go to the other side of the street, and if she calls, they pretend they're not home? Not very nice. But one day, while Chester and Wilson were practicing their hand signals, some older boys rode by popping wheelies. They circled Chester and Wilson and yelled personal remarks, which is things that aren't very nice. Chester and Wilson didn't know what to do, so now the big boys are going to be bullies to them. Just when they were about to give up hope, a fierce-looking cat with horrible fangs jumped out of the bushes and frightened the older boys away. Who do you think that is? Do you recognize the boots? Are you who I think you are? Chester asked the cat. Of course, the cat replied. Thank you, Lily, said Chester. You're welcome, Chester, said Lily. Thank you, Lily, said Wilson. You're welcome, Wilson, said Lily. I'm glad you're wearing a disguise, said Chester. And I'm glad you had your squirt gun, said Wilson. I always do, said Lily, just in case. Afterward, Chester invited Lily over for lunch. You have a Muscle Mouse cup, said Lily. Of course, said Chester. I do too, said Lily. Same here, said Wilson. Chester and Wilson cut their sandwiches diagonally. Lily asked Chester's mother if she had cookie cutters, and she made stars and flowers and bells. Wow, that's neat, said Chester. Wow, said Wilson. That night, Lily invited Chester and Wilson to sleep over. You have a nightlight, said Chester. Of course, said Lily. I do too, said Chester. Same here, said Wilson. Are you noticing that they do have some things in common? Chester and Wilson wanted toast with jam and peanut butter for breakfast the next morning. Boring, said Lily. Try this instead. This is good, said Chester. Wow, said Wilson. Look, she decorated her toast to look like a little person. She's getting Chester and Wilson to be a little more adventurous. After that, when Lily asked Chester and Wilson to play, they always said yes. When she called them on the phone, they had pleasant conversations. And if Lily was walking on one side of the street, Chester and Wilson waved and ran to catch up with her. Look at her, she's wearing a paper bag on her head. She really likes to dress up. Chester and Wilson taught Lily hand signals, and she taught them how to pop wheelies. Lily taught Chester and Wilson how to talk backwards, and they taught her how to double knot her shoes. Some days I can't tell those three apart, said Lily's mother. Me either, said Lily's father. Chester and Wilson and Lily. Lily and Wilson and Chester. That's just the way it was. Can you see their feet and see the two boots? For Halloween, they dressed up as the three blind mice. For Christmas, Lily gave Chester and Wilson nifty disguises, and they gave her a box of multicolored shoelaces extra long for double knotting. They loved to go on picnics. When Chester and Wilson told Lily about how she had swallowed a watermelon seed once, Lily swallowed 3 of them. I'll grow a watermelon plant for each of us, she said. Do you think a watermelon would really grow in your stomach if you swallowed a seed? I thought so when I was little. In spring, Chester and Wilson and Lily shared the same umbrella. In winter, they never threw snowballs at each other. In fall, they raked leaves together. And in summer, they reminded each other to wear sunscreen so they wouldn't burn. Chester and Wilson and Lily. Lily and Wilson and Chester. That's the way it was. There she is with her boots and her crown. And then Victor moved into the neighborhood. I wonder if they're going to be friends with him too. I like this story because it's about friendship, and I like it because Lily's really, really funny, and we're going to see her again in a few more books. I'd like you to draw me a picture of maybe you and your best friend, or you can tell me about you and your best friend, and just tell me if you like the book. All right, friends, happy reading.